we are continuing with the erosional landforms. The next kind of an erosional landform which we'll do now is we finished with, in the first part we finished with the yardangs. That is first we explained the formation of a desert, then the Zeugians, yardangs and the mushroom rock. Now the next type of a landform is in mesas and buttes. How this is this landform? So this is a landform in which there is an high mountain or a tabletop mountain or a table like landscape which is made up of soft rocks, but it's wearing a cap of an hard rock. Or we can say the soft rock is covered on the top layer by an hard rock. Not everywhere, but if this is a soft rock, it is covered somewhere in between by an hard rock. That is, it is having a cap of hard and very resistant rock, while the lower rock is a soft rock. So in such kind of a landforms, obviously the softer rock will get more eroded as compared to the hard rocks. So as a result of this, we can see that the softer rocks, due to the weathering, due to the erosion, it will get eroded, and in the end a topography somewhat like this will be formed. That is, there will be steep sides of this masses having hard rocks, where the soft rocks will be eroded much more than the hard rock. So the entire topography will cover and come like this. Over the period of time, even the hard rock will be more eroded, and the height of this mountains will reduce, and the topography will look like this. So we will have a cap of an hard rock, resistant rock, hard, resistant rock, and the soft rock. Separated by this entire valley will look like a V-shaped valley, will separated by different kind of mountains. So such a kind of a topography is known as mesas. And small form of mesas are known as buttes. They are always separated by a V-shaped valley. Or when we did fluvial landscape, I said that canyon is more prominent in an arid landscape. So this is an example of an canyon. Example is again a Grand Canyon of USA. So what are the mesas and buttes? The mesas and buttes are cap of hard. These are the landforms which are formed due to a cap of, it is a flat table like landmass. A flat table like landmass. A flat table like a landmass with capped with resistant, horizontal layer of hard rock. But having soft rock below. And having soft rocks below. The hard rock resists the erosion. The hard rock resists the erosion, and therefore softer rocks are eroded more, while softer rocks are more eroded, easily, or we can say they are more eroded. When they become small, isolated hills, they are known as buttes. They are known as buttes. This is an mesa. Now obviously they are separated by deep canyons. As I told you, you can use this diagram in the examination. That is a softer rock, and then hard rock in the form of a mesa. So this is a mesa, this is butte, and this is canyon. While this rock is a softer rock. In fact, in the examination, if you draw, you can label this diagram as a hard rock, while this rock as a soft rock. So you draw this diagram. In fact, a flat table-like landmass capped with a resistant horizontal layer of hard rocks having soft rocks below is mesas. They are separated by deep canyons. That means we can say it is a flat table-like landmass. Before you write capped, having steep sides, capped with resistant horizontal layer of hard rock and having soft rocks below is known as a mesa. Why is there? Because the soft rocks are easily eroded. Then what is butte? When the mesa becomes small, it is known as an butte. Obviously, they are always separated by canyons. Now, if you ask me how this will be formed, you imagine a condition when there is a volcanic plug coming up and there is a flow. So the volcanic lava is always an resistant rock, while the soft rock is a sedimentary rock. So the volcanic rock may be a basalt or granite, which is a resistant rock as compared to the softer rocks. The lower layer may be of an sedimentary rock, resulting into formation of an mesas and buttes. So entire original landmass, which was earlier like this, got eroded to form such kind of an landmass. Now this is, because we are studying general studies, we are not doing the cycle of erosion of a desert. But obviously you should know the terms associated with the cycle of erosion of desert. Now one of the terms which was associated with the cycle of erosion of the fluvial landscape was peneplains. The same residual, what is a peneplain? The residual isolated hill lying in the flat landscape was an peneplain, which determined the end cycle of an erosion. What you will call such an flat isolated hill made up of resistant rocks such as granite or gneiss or any other kind of a resistant rock, which determines the end of an life cycle of an desert, that is, such is known as Inselberg. So Inselberg is flat, is rounded. It is an isolated hill. Isolated. Residual hill. Residual hill means, what does the word residual means here? Residual means it is a product of erosion. The erosion has occurred so much that now the erosion is not possible because of the resistance of rock. So maybe once a mountain, now it has been reduced to an hill. So hill is just a residue of once which was a mountain. So isolated residual hill which rises abruptly, from ground is known as an Inselberg. It is mainly composed of resistant rocks such as granite and gneiss or gneiss. It is an end product of which cycle are we doing? Desert cycle, means Aeolian cycle or arid cycle of erosion. This is an end product of an arid cycle of erosion. That is a flat surface but having an isolated hill. Such an isolated hill is known as Inselberg. Such an isolated hill will be known as an Inselberg. Now obviously one more point associated with normal cycle, with the arid cycle, or the one more erosional landform is ventifacts and Dracainters ventifacts and Dracainters. See, this is nothing but only for preliminary point of view. Remember what it is. See, when the wind is blowing, wind will obviously blow and it will remove the rocks. So you must have seen in your surroundings, there are some of the rocks which are having only two faces, means only two sides. They are very steep rocks. For example, which is a rock having two faces? Your slide, your marble, your floor is having one front face and one back face. Some of the rocks are having three faces. What do you mean by three faces? That is, the rock maybe is of this type, so it may be having 1, 2 and 3 faces, or maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 faces. So while some of the rocks may be a singular rock having very thin side but having 2 faces, that means one this side while the other face is on the back side. Such rocks are produced in the deserts due to the process known as wind blasting. So wind blasting will produce rocks which are having either 2 faces known as ventifacts or 3 or more faces known as trichynters. Now most of the rocks we find in India are more than 3 faces. But if you go in the desert regions, you will find there are some of the rocks which look like a razor, like a blade. That is, they are having sharp edges and 2 faces. They are what an examples of a ventifact. As I told you, what is an ventifact? For your example of how will the ventifact look like? Your floor, your tile, tile floor will look like a ventifact having only 2 faces. Trichynters will be the rocks having more than 3 faces. 3 or more than 3 faces. 3 faces will be trichynters. So these are the rocks produced by sand blasting, having sharp edges and faces. When 2 faces are present, they are known as ventifacts. When 3 or more faces are present, they are known as trichynters. Simple, what are these? Small pebble-like rocks having 2 or more faces, that is ventifacts or trichynters. Now, one more feature of an erosion is, we have already done, is the deflation hollow. Now consider the 2 cases here. If this is a land covered by a sand, then obviously down there may be a rock. While again this is a land which is covered by a sand, while down there may be a rock. But in those rocks, there will be a groundwater. That is, there will be water which is stored in these rocks. That is, there is a presence of groundwater in these rocks. Now, in the first case, if there is a blowing away of the wind due to the, what is the deflation? Lifting of the particles and blowing away. So, the wind will come and blow away. So, over the period of time, this land will be reduced into a depression till the time it reaches an hard rock and resulting into formation of an deflation hollow. So what are these? Depressions in the deserts which are caused due to deflation process by the wind. The same thing will apply here. Here the wind will come and it will blow away. It will blow till the point the down level will be exposed, and it will blow till the point the water table is being exposed to the ground surface. Such, when the water table is being exposed, obviously the wind due to friction is reduced, and we call such deflation hollows in the desert. It is one of the favorite spots in the Arabian Night stories. What are these known as when water is found in the desert? Oasis. How are the oases formed? Deflation hollow will remove the sand from the upper level, and over the period of time, the sand, if there is a presence of groundwater below, the water will reflect into formation of an oasis. So this is an oasis. Again, this both are an example of an deflation hollows. So what is a deflation hollow? It is formed due to a depression formed due to process of deflation. Process of deflation. That is blowing away of the winds. By winds. That is blowing away by winds is known as deflations. When groundwater is exposed when the groundwater is exposed, it is known as oasis. Plural is oasis, singular is oasis. So the examples are, in fact, one of the best example is Katara depression. Example is Katara depression. In Egypt. Now look at this Katara depression in Egypt in map. Where it will be found? It will be found, I will give you the location here. Here there is a Suez Canal, river Nile drains, and you will find the Katara depression here in Egypt. In Egypt. Example is Katara depression in Egypt is an example of an deflation hollow. Now this were the erosional landforms. Now three very simple depositional landforms. One of the most important depositional landform in the desert is the depositional landforms in the desert. See, what is the depositional landform? It is brought down by the winds and deposited when the wind's speed is reduced. Same like water, when the speed of a water is reduced, it will start depositing. So here also, when the speed of a wind is reduced, it will start depositing. Now the depositional landforms will depend upon the size of a particle. Same like water. Larger particles won't be carried to a longer distance. Smaller particles will be carried to a longer distance. Finer the particles, they will be carried to the longest of the distances. One of the most important depositional landform in the desert is, what your idea of a desert is? Dunes. Dunes of what? Sand dunes. So what are these sand dunes? Sand dunes are hills of sand. Hills of sand formed due to accumulation of a sand of accumulation of a sand. A sand dune may be formed due to an obstacle that means due to an obstacle there will be deposition, and then this deposition will then grow. There are two types of sand dunes. One are fixed, that is they do not move. While the other are live sand dunes, that is they move, or we can say they migrate. What do you mean by they move or migrate? Suppose if this is a sand dune here, tomorrow this will move and migrate to the other areas. Again it will move and migrate to the other areas. That means such kind of a sand dunes, live sand dunes, causes desertification. What is the process of desertification? The process of desertification is increase in the area of desert. Are we affected by the process of desertification? Yes, Rajasthan desert is encroaching in the surrounding regions, making the regions infertile. Why the desertification is happening in India? Because we are cutting down the trees, we are cutting down the forest, therefore the wind is not getting any kind of a resistance. So wind is blowing the sands and depositing in the fields. So which are the states surrounding Rajasthan? Punjab, Haryana is one of two major states surrounding Rajasthan. What are they doing? These are states which are agriculturally more important, and therefore because they are making, on the rich fertile soil, a top layer of a saline sand is coming and getting deposited, resulting into increasing in the infertility of the soil. Soil is not giving that much return to the farmer. The food production decreases, the production of a soil decreases, and this can lead to a serious problem, because the food bowl of India gets affected. India already has an hunger problem, though we are self-sufficient in the terms of agriculture, but don't forget that India has the largest number of malnourished children and hungry people outside the sub-Saharan Africa. So when we say we are a superpower, we do neglect the one section of our society, that the malnourished children after so many years of an independence. One of the reason is desertification, and if it is not going to be checked, it will be a serious problem. I will give you a PDF on the desertification with this lecture or with the next lecture. So if attachment is possible with this lecture, it will be given, but you will find the PDF with the attachment in this or next lecture. But do that desertification properly, and whenever you will read the article on desertification, no doubt the article on desertification will come, then you should, we will discuss the process of desertification later on, that is desertification only in India, therefore we will discuss it while doing the Indian geography. But you should keep on adding the points. If you get statistics through the newspaper, keep on adding the newspaper, because such questions, desertification, disaster management, such questions have very, very high probability to be asked in the mains examination. So the process of desertification is due to the migrating sand dunes. This is what our base is. What is the process of desertification? We'll do it while doing the Indian geography. But just remember, interlinkage is possible. Interlinkage has to be done to learn any subject, and geography also requires a lot of interlinking. So what is sand dunes? Hills of the sands formed due to accumulation of the sand. It is a depositional feature. Now, One of the process, they can be fixed or they can be live. That is, fixed means they do not move. Because they do not move, there is no problem of desertification. Live means they move or migrate, which causes desertification. That is, increase in the area of a desert. Now the sand dunes, because the wind does not have any direction, there are numerous shapes of the sand dunes. The sand dunes can be of a different shapes, can be of a different size. And the wind does not have any specific direction, the sand dunes will have star-like shape. When the wind has some specific direction, they will be of different shape. From our exam point of view, we are going to study only the two sand dunes. That is, one is moon-shaped sand dunes and one is sword-shaped sand dunes. So we are going the types of the sand dunes. Are either crescentic shape or either crescentic shape or longitudinal. Crescentic shape sand dunes are known as barchans, and longitudinal sand dunes are known as seeps. Now, first studying the most important and our general idea of a sand, that is the barchans. Do we have barchans in India? Have you seen border? Then most of you must have seen. Then are the sand dunes having moon-like shape? Yes. Then India has barchans in Jaisalmer district, in the Bikaner district, that is on the western side of the desert. So, barchans, that is the moon-shaped sand dunes, or we can say the moon-shaped sand dunes. The flow of the wind is this direction. Wind. So this is the windward side, this is the leeward side. Leeward side, windward side. Okay. So the moon-shaped sand dunes. What are these? Moon-shaped or crescentic sand dunes. Are known as barchans. They occur generally in groups. In groups. What are the examples of? They are examples of live dunes. Means they can cause the desertification. They are an examples of an live dunes. They can cause desertification. Why? They can the windward side. How is the windward side? This is the windward side. Is it steep or gentle? Steeper side, gentle side. The windward side is convex and gentle. The leeward side is steep and concave. Is steep and concave. Steep and concave. These are known as horns of the sand dunes. Known as horns. The horns are present the horns are developed, not occur, actually they are developed. The horns are developed. Because such sand dunes occur transversely to wind direction. So what are the barchans? Moon-shaped or the crescentic shaped sand dunes. These are example of live dunes. The windward side is convex and gentle, while the leeward side is steep and concave. The horns are present because they are occur transversely to the wind direction. These are the key words. The horns are present because they occur this way to the wind direction. Wind flowing this way, and so the middle path is clear because they occur transversely or perpendicular to the wind direction. This side is perpendicular, so they occur perpendicular to the wind direction. How do they progress? They progress कि अगर wind आएगी, then this will fall down. So the barchan will keep on shifting upwards. So this is how they will keep on progressing. So these are they occur transversely. These are the keywords. In fact, by the diagram itself, you will be able to understand that which side is convex and which is concave. Now in the desert region, which is full of sand, suppose this is an area which is full of sand. This is entirely sandy area. When the wind is blowing with a full speed, it will clear this sandy area. It will clear this sandy area, and as a result, the sand will get accumulated on the sides Why? Because बीच में से wind blows with such a great velocity that the sand particles are thrown on the side. यहाँ पे the wind is blowing with a great velocity and due to eddy currents the sand particles are thrown on the sides. यहाँ पे the wind is blowing with a great velocity and due to currents, the eddy currents, the sand particles are thrown on side. So what will be the shape of a sand dunes? The sand dunes will be straight or sword like, that is straight sand dunes. Now in the Arabic they are known as sword like sand dunes. Why? Because the sword was generally straight. So such kind of sand dunes are known as seeps. That is the longitudinal sand dunes in which there are parallel passages of sand dunes, corridor, sand-free corridor. Why the sand-free corridor? Because the wind is blowing with such a great velocity that it is removing everything. When the car goes with great velocity, jitni bhi raste ki mitti hai, it is thrown on the side. The road gets clear. Same. Why? Because of the eddy currents. That is, the wind clears the path while it throws the sands to the sides. Same thing you applied here. The wind clears the path of this sand dunes, resulting into formation of a longitudinal dunes having corridor which is free of a sand. Such dunes are known as seeps. So what are the seeps? They are these are longitudinal dunes longitudinal dunes. How is their direction? They lie parallel to the direction of the prevailing wind. They lie parallel to direction of prevailing winds. They lie parallel to the direction of prevailing winds. What was the direction of Barchans? Perpendicular or transverse to the direction of an prevailing winds. In fact, I will draw a better diagram here. So the longitudinal dunes, you remember what are the keywords here? They lie parallel to the direction of the wind, while the barchans lie perpendicular or transverse to the direction of the wind. If you ask me how perpendicular, how is the diagram of a barchan? That means it is lies perpendicular to the direction of the wind, which is this way. So that thus it lies perpendicular to the direction of a wind. Now, the last kind of a deposit are lowest deposits. What are these lowest deposits? See, this is a very, very fine sand. Same like your talcum powder or multani mitti, very, very fine sand. And because it is a very fine sand, it can be easily removed by the wind, and because the wind travels, it is deposited at very, very far away places. Now this sand is so fine that even if it is deposited, it can be easily removed by the forces of agents of an erosion. For example, if I take stones and deposit it or keep it at one place, obviously the foundation of a stone or the foundation or the stability of a stone will be much, much better than if I take a talcum powder and make a heap of that talcum powder. If I keep my hand on the talcum powder heap will collapse. Obviously, the stone's heap won't collapse that easily if it is properly arranged. Same. Now, loess is a very, very fine sand. The word is loess because it is rich in lime and therefore it is yellow in color. So, what is it? It is a very fine sand. It is very fine dust blown away from the deserts. And deposited in far away places. It is deposited in a very, very far away place. And because it is deposited, why it is deposited in far away places? Because it is very fine dust and therefore it can be taken to a large distance. It is made up of loam. It is very fine loamy. It is very fine loam, rich in lime, porous and extremely porous. What do you mean by loam? What the soil is called as an loamy soil. Loamy soil is a kind of a soil which consists of 40% sand, 40% of slit, and the 20% is clay-like material. So it becomes an extremely fine sand. So what is a loam? Loam consists of 40% is sand, 40% is silt, and 20% is clay. Just a preliminary fact if you want to remember, 40, 40, 20, sand, silt and clay. So, it is an extremely porous. Now, because it is extremely porous, whenever the water falls, water easily penetrates, and because it is rich in lime, it reacts with water and it collapses. As I told you, gave you an example of heap of a stone versus heap of a talcum powder. If I pour water on the hip of a stone versus the hip of a talcum powder, which will collapse? Talcum powder will collapse. What will be the color of a water once it crosses the talcum powder? It will be color of that talcum powder itself will be, because the talcum powder gets dissolved in water. So if my talcum powder is white in color, then it becomes white water. Why I am saying this? I will be doing one region, that is the Yellow River region in China. Same sea, Yellow Sea. Why it is? That we are coming to Loess. Okay. So it is extremely porous. Therefore, rivers cut deep valleys, resulting into bad land topography. It is this bad land topography which results into shifting of Wangbo River, what we call as a sorrow of China. Now, but don't forget that because it is rich in lime, therefore, actually, Loess is very fertile. but it is so soft that अगर आपने उसके ऊपर कुछ बनाया तो जमीन धस जाएगी नीचे. If you want to do agriculture, that is not possible because of its softness, but it is a very, very fertile soil. So, world distribution, have a look at it. Now we will see the world distribution of a Loess. See, the most extensive Loess deposits are found in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. Large amount of Loess deposits are found in the Gobi Desert of Mongolia. Because it is rich in lime, it is yellow in color. Now the winds from the Gobi Desert come and deposit this all Loess in the surrounding regions in the China. Because the winds blow from the Gobi Desert and the winds they are deposited in China. As a result, the river which flows from this region, it is known as an Yellow River. It is known as Yellow River. Why Yellow River? Because the Loess is yellow in color, therefore the Yellow River. While the river drains into the Yellow Sea, making the color of the sea also yellow. Otherwise, the original name of a river is Wang Ho. Why is it famous? Because the Three Gorges Dam, the largest dam in the world, is built on this river. So now this Yellow River, because it is so soft sand, the Yellow River is continuously known for shifting its course. Sometimes it travels in this direction, sometimes in other direction. Therefore, Wangbo River known for shifting of the courses. Therefore, Wangbo River is known as Sorrow of China. Why? Because of frequent flooding. See, how does the geography influences the people? How does geography influences our patterns of living? How does the geography influences many factors? If the Vango would not have shifted, then maybe it would have been one of the better developed region. But too much shifting. That is why it is frequent flooding. Why too much shifting? Because of loose soil, not strong soil like basalt, not strong soil like black cotton soil, very loose soil resulting into frequent flooding. Now, what are the other regions of lowest deposits? The other lowest deposits are found in Limon region of France and Belgium. They are found in the Limon of France, in the Limon region of France and Belgium. While they are found in Adobe. You must be familiar with this word, Adobe of USA. These are the regions of lowest deposits in the world. So what is the lowest? It's an extremely fine sand. Okay. Now, last part in the desert topography. See, in the areas of a mountain, obviously there will be some kind of a rainfall. Desert is an region where there is a very less rainfall, but it does not mean there is a very no rainfall at all. Or sometimes there is you must have recently heard about the cloud burst. That is, there is a bursting of the cloud. Suddenly there is a very heavy rainfall, which occurs generally after 2 or 3 years, even in Rajasthan. Rajasthan also gets flooded. That is, in the regions of desert, whenever, but even if there is a small amount of rainfall, the soil is so you can say loose that suddenly the soil starts moving. That is, water starts moving through the soil like rivers. Such exotic streams are formed, and therefore, obviously, in the regions of mountains, in the regions between the two mountains, such exotic streams will result into formation of an alluvial fans. In the desert region, between the alluvial fan in the desert region, are known as bajadas. So we have already done the alluvial fan, but in the desert region only there is a difference of the name. Peneplain, then यहाँ पे Inselberg. Alluvial fan, bajadas. So what are the bajadas? In the arid and semi-arid regions, when there is a sudden rainfall, the rivers will originate here and they will come and deposit the materials, resulting into formation of an alluvial fan. Such alluvial fan in the desert region is in the bajada. So the alluvial fan is at which area? At the foot of a mountain. So the bajada will be at which area? At a foot of a mountain. Such area is known as what? In geography, it is known as Piedmont zone. Formed at an Piedmont zone. Go to the first lecture. I have discussed such intermountain region, Piedmont region. Piedmont means at the foot of a mountain. Intermont means between the two mountains. Leh Ladakh plateau is an example of, Tibet is an example of intermont plateau. Coastal plains of India are example of a Piedmont plains. So it will result now, whenever the rivers will come and form, if there is a depression at the center of a bajada, it will come and result into accumulation of lakes in the bajada region. Obviously, such lakes will be what lakes? Freshwater lakes or saline lakes? There will be saline lakes. Why too much concentration of a salt? Why too much concentration of a salt? Because high rate of evaporation. So the lakes which are formed here, in desert are known as they are known as playas. Are known as playas. So here this is an example of an playa lake. Here this is an example of an playa lake. Now the playa lake, obviously due to less rainfall, obviously the water will get evaporated, and what will remain is just a salt. So the water, when it gets evaporated, only white salt is seen in this region. Such evaporated lakes are known as salinas. So what are these? Playas will get converted into salinas. Lakes dry up. They are known as salinas. In which region? In the USA region, or they are known as shorts in North Africa, and they are known as salinas in USA and Mexico. Now, why? Because the water from this lake has dried up. How this lake is formed? Because at the foot of a mountain there will be an alluvial fan. At the alluvial fan, obviously there is a depression because of the deposition of materials. When the drying up of this results into formation of a salinas or shorts, salinas in North America and Central America, shorts in North Africa. These are the questions which are asked. You should know the names. Shorts of North Africa, salinas of Americas. You remember, salinas Americas, shorts Africa. Now it will result. Now what are these? These are the important source of salts. These are the important source of salt. So remember, now we have finished with the desert landforms. You remember the terms associated with the desert landform. If we start, what are these? Mushroom rocks, pedestal rocks or guar, Zeugen, Z, horizontal layer of hard and soft rocks, Yardangs, vertical layer of hard and soft rock, Inselberg, Ventifax, Durkheimers, Messas, Bates. After that, we are having sand dunes, we are having loess, and then we are having playas and salinas. What are playas? Lakes in the saline region. Salinas are when the lakes dry up, because when the lakes dry up they give salt, therefore the name is salinas. Okay, so thank you very much for desert landforms. We are soon meeting with the glacial landforms. Thank you again.